of the ballpark, and it will cross very near Hudson on the interstate right there in that area. Just wanted to check some other things and make sure area-wide. This is our one tornado warning. See how it's wrapped up in the rain, and see all of this rain right in here? There's a lot of heavy rain coming down here, and this generally is moving in a northeastward fashion. Look where that's heading. That's heading towards McLean County. We're going to see areas near Hayworth, Farmer City, Bloomington Normal with another 2 to 4 inches of rain tonight based on these storms. That's a concern where these storms are training over each other. Farmer City, actually, I should say maybe a little bit ahead of this, but it seems like Hayworth, McLean, Bloomington, where they had the heaviest rain last night and the significant flash flooding. Interstate 55, that's right here. Lincoln to Bloomington up here. Right in here, it's closed. Look at all that rain that's coming in. That's going to flood that even more. I encourage no travel at this point on Interstate 55 from Springfield to Bloomington and even up towards Chicago, as there's going to be some serious flooding potential with these storms as they continue in that direction. More storms continuing to form now. This is that storm that Kevin is on and watching. He's really watching all of these storms. And if Kevin can hear me, by Atlanta, north of Lincoln, I'm pretty interested in a feature there on radar. I think he was getting in this little rain right here. This is the remnants of that storm near Athens. Still out ahead of the main line, but still very possible that it could Kevin wants to toss to him. Let's toss to Kevin now. And so he's out there on this storm. Kevin, what are you seeing?
Yeah, okay, so we're out here. We're watching this storm again that is in Sangamon County that was once warned. You can see this right here that is behind me is that shelf cloud. This is what you're going to see that is going to bring the very heavy rain, the very strong winds. Now, what we look for is look how low this cloud base is. This is a really low cloud base here. We look for any lowerings along this. I'm not seeing anything. You can see a lot of rain that's out there. See the really dark area? That's kind of right there. That's the heavy rainfall, maybe sometimes some hail. But all along this area here, very fast motions in the sky with this. And again, this is our storm that we're watching that's going to be coming into eventually Sangamon and Logan County here where we're located at Elkhart as we're looking kind of to the south and west here. And so this is what we're going to follow and possibly follow back as you were talking about that other line. But again, a very low cloud base here. And so that's kind of the key thing that we're looking at for the potential of any spin-up tornadoes. We've got our eyes on this, but it won't take much. That's the thing. We've had funnels, we've had rotation with some of these, and it won't take much because of how low this cloud base already is to maybe bring that funnel down that could actually touch down. So we're going to watch this carefully here, monitor it, and maybe shoot back up there to the north and east here and just kind of follow this along and see what's going on. But just wanted to show you this because it's a pretty impressive view that we've got of that shelf cloud here as it's coming through. So we'll send it back to you for now, and we're going to reposition here.
All right, Kevin, stay safe out there. We appreciate your coverage and you bringing us these impressive pictures from the storm tracker of that low clouds here. And that's a concern with how low these clouds are today. Normally they don't sit that low, but when they do, sometimes that can allow for any rotation. It doesn't have as much distance to travel from the clouds to the ground. So that is something that has to be watched individually with these storms very closely for the next little bit. A couple of updates right now. I do want to mention first off the warning for McLean County continues until 3:15. Whether or not there's an extension, we'll wait and see. But I tell you what, that area of circulation now has passed the US 150 Mitsubishi Motorways exit on 74. It is now sitting to the north and west of Normal. This is all where Normal proper is here, but there's a lot of rural zip codes north side of Normal. Here's 39, 51 here. That takes you down in Main Street in Normal. This is Veterans Parkway over there. This storm is carrying to the north and east. Hudson and Kappa next in line. Other areas we'll be watching is for downstream to see if this warning is extended. And from what I'm seeing, it looks pretty impressive enough where that is something we'll consider at this time. The one tornado warning we have for McLean County does go until 3:15. They're still saying there's strong rotation on this storm near Hudson. I have not heard of any reports of tornadoes or anything like that down from that. And I'm just checking all these different looks and signatures here. a lot of information, again, that we process. Here's the rotational signature. You can clearly tell that there's rotation wrapped up right in here. This green, an indication of winds going towards the radar. One problem we have is the storm is running parallel to the radar beam, so it doesn't look as impressive. But we know here that inflow winds are coming in, the rear flank downdraft wrapping around, and that's going to be about 1, 2, 3, 4 miles south of Hudson. On the board here as it continues to the north and east, very close to Hudson. The National Weather Service is concerned right now for Hudson and areas north of Bloomington Normal. Just to give you an idea of some things here, Evergreen Lake sits right up here east to the west and north of Hudson. I think this storm will pass just south and east of there. However, when you're down to the south end of Evergreen Lake, it trails off into the creek. I am worried about that area towards Hudson. That'd be kind of part of the southern side of Evergreen Lake. The park that's up there, you've got the Lake Bloomington exit north of Hudson where Kappa is. From there south on 39 really is going to be the greatest concerns. In fact, right there you can see this is where the Evergreen Lake Bloomington exit is. Hudson exit is here. This is Bloomington Normal, and Kappa sits behind this banner. The other areas I'm concerned eventually is after Hudson. This is heading for Lake Bloomington on the north and east side of Hudson. East side of Hudson, I should say. And as that continues in that general direction, there's quite a few people that call that area home. You know, some of these lakes in the area have nice, peaceful neighborhoods, but this storm is meaning to do business in that area based on the signature we're watching, continuing in that general direction. Downstream, then, we want to give a heads up. This should stay just to the north of Towanda, but then you've got Lexington, you've got Money Creek, you've got Gridley, Meadows, Chenoa that are next in line from the storm if they decide to extend a warning. And then we'll be talking about even some of our friends in Livingston County, potentially, based on how things are going. Let's take a look area-wide. This is our one tornado warning. It's why we're keeping coverage now here, as folks in this area north and west of Bloomington need to seek shelter. This storm is continuing to the north and to the east. The general sign that I almost look at now is that these storms are very narrow, but very strong, and continuing to monitor things here. We're going to have to watch that entire line for rotation from this point on, even though we have that one tornado report, one tornado warning, I should say. These other storms here, here's Chenoa, here's Gridley, there's Lexington, Pontiac, Sonneman, Chatsworth, Forest, Fairbury. This batch of storms right here has started to indicate a little bit of rotation at times. One spot near Gridley, another spot here west of Lexington near Lake Bloomington. The National Weather Service office in Lincoln covers McLean County. The National Weather Service office in Chicago covers Livingston County. And so we'll have two different ideas of what are going on here. The National Weather Service in Chicago, they say that they are watching some rotation and seeing things merge together with that particular storm. I'm going to go, if we can, let's double box Kevin real fast. I'm kind of looking at his shot. I'd like to have that double boxed on the screen if we can at some point. And I'm also going to try and pull up the Springfield camera and get a vantage point to the north. I'm starting to grow more impressed by that storm near Williamsville from Kevin's viewpoint. And it may be trying to rotate more based on what I'm looking at from Kevin. So we can get him double box. There you go. You see Kevin's feet in the storm tracker on the right side. Of course, he's north of Springfield, kind of by Elkhart down towards Williamsville, looking at that storm closely. And then I'm going to pull the Springfield camera up on Storm Tracker Doppler here and show you that. Because I want to turn that Springfield camera to the north and see if we don't get another vantage point. So when we do that, Springfield camera now is looking a little more west of north, and I'll turn that here to the right. We want it to look north towards the Capitol Airport in that general direction to give you a vantage point as it turns more. Sometimes we get things in the way, and that's how it works, but it does appear the airport off in the distance there. You can see the lowering that Kevin's also watching, and we'll turn it back a little bit here towards the more westward direction. From low clouds, some reduced visibility from this storm as it continues to the north and east, but there's other storms that are in there as well. And so we'll be using these cameras to sweep through and identify any areas of rotation and more. Going to continue to monitor things here from this storm and this vantage point as Kevin's watching that now come near overhead into the region. All right, let's go back to radar full screen, and if Kevin has anything in the back, let me know. I can see on the story wall. The cameras are in my way a little bit, but you all need my eyes and ears back there. Kevin does want to talk, actually, from what I'm seeing here. So, Kevin, first off, I want to reiterate the concern for McLean County. There's a rotation now crossing Interstate 39 near Hudson, but you're also watching some storms. Tell us what you're seeing down in Logan County. Do we have Kevin? Did we lose him?
Oh, are we there? Can you hear me?
All right, we've got you, Kevin. We can hear you now. Kevin, tell us what you're seeing. All right, it looks like
really rapid.
There he is. Sorry,
kind of rotation that we've got. No, you're good. You're good. Pretty rapid storm motion here. You can see some rising motion on this storm. We are literally sitting in Elkhart. We're looking to just, literally due west. This thing is about on top of us here, but we're watching these little, you can see right there, there's possibly some rotation that's trying to occur with this. We're going to have to reposition here in just a few seconds because this thing is about to come over the top of us here. But definitely some big motion. Just look at that. You can see the motion here on just the camera shot that we've got. So again, this storm here is definitely ramping up a little bit more than what we had just a little bit ago. Again, we're in Elkhart. We're looking at the storm here. It's going to be crossing over I-55 here before too long. But we're going to follow this here, reposition now, and let you know what we see. But we're about to take the brunt of this here. So we're gonna reposition and keep an eye because these are some extremely low hanging clouds here, and we're gonna have to monitor it because these could drop a funnel here at any time because we are seeing some rotation within this. We're going to reposition, and we'll have more coming up here in just a bit.
There we go. We got my mic on finally, so we can talk about these storms here. Kevin is watching that storm. I will mention that the storm near Hudson now is moving towards Lake Bloomington. There's been no indication of an extension of that tornado warning at this point. And we'll wait and see what they decide. The warning itself goes until 3:15, so we've got another 4 minutes before we'll find out whether their plan is. And of course, we're going to watch Kevin's shot really closely here. And we're also looking in Springfield now. This is from Bradfordton. Some of the heavy rain and the wind coming down in the northwest side of Springfield. Our photographer is out there watching things. We've got you covered on all of these storms here. We can see his shot full. There it is. And are we not able to talk to him? Okay, that's fine. So he's watching there in Springfield at more storms. And where again was that shot taken from? This was the Bradfordton area. Okay. And I believe this is earlier. This is not live. Is that correct? This is live video. Okay, so he's watching that next storm down the line as it continues to move to the north and to the east there. So a lot of these individual storms, we're going to have to watch them all closely. This is Kevin's storm right here. And Kevin is continuing to watch this storm near Elkhart. He's going to watch it and monitor it. And then, of course, we're watching another storm in southwestern McLean County. This storm near McLean, that's US 136 and Interstate 55, has my eye. And then we're also going to watch this storm near Hudson. There's the new tornado warning. We told you we thought it was going to come here, and that's going to carry it up to the Livingston County line on US 24 near Chenoa and Gridley, as well as areas to the west of Fairbury. It will be mainly Chenoa and Meadows. Gridley not quite in it, but this area of rotation now coming very close to Lake Bloomington. If we get another digital post on this warning too, that'll be good if we can post that on. We'll post that update, but we're watching all of these different shots now. We've got you covered. My mom and dad are watching the storms in McLean County. I haven't heard from them, and I'm going to check in with them. We've got Kevin in Logan County. We've got our photographer, Chris, in Sangamon County. All of us folks giving you live coverage from the field of these storms in the area, and we're continuing to monitor. Kevin's shot, man, he's coming into town there. Very impressive looking storm as this is moving on in to the I-55 corridor south and west of Lincoln. If Kevin can hear me, if he needs us at all, just flash yourself on screen and then you can wave the hand if you see something that's concerning or whatnot. But we're going to be watching his feed very closely as he's now moving to the north and to the east along Interstate 55 down in the Elkhart area. This new tornado warning, let's spend a little time with me full screen, please. Me on camera if we can. I'm going to talk a little bit about who's in and who's out. This is for McLean County, an extension of the rotating storm near Hudson. This is going to include Lake Bloomington, Money Creek. It will include areas north and west of Lexington. It does include Chenoa, Gridley, not quite, but it does include Meadows. It's also going to include Weston, all the way up to Interstate 55 from Lexington to Chenoa. It's moving off to the north and east at a pretty decent clip here, about 30 miles an hour, and will continue to move in the direction of Chenoa. under my best guess here, I think it will stay south and east of Gridley. I agree with how they have it here. Lexington, it's a close call. I'd like Lexington to be in their shelter, and we're going to watch downstream based on the track of this. We may have to watch for Fairbury and Forest, even towards Pontiac for the region. So let's see here. Just updating some of our storm spotters in the field here. And moving on through the area, of course, Kevin moving through the north and east, listening in to us. We're watching that storm very closely, all of these storms in the region. So one tornado warning at this point, but I think we're riding a very delicate line of seeing more tornado warnings into the region here. That tornado warning right now is for McLean County, areas north and east of Bloomington towards Lexington and Chenoa. We'll be heading towards Livingston County soon. A first heads up for our friends near Pontiac, Fairbury, up towards Sonneman, and downstream there, and that will carry its way to the north and to the east. I still am very interested in the storm that's near McLean, and I'm very interested in the storm near Elkhart coming into Lincoln. Still have some interest as well as that storms to the south and west of Springfield, but I'm not as concerned. I think the instability starting to lift away from that here, from these storms. So this is the storm now in Springfield, and we've got that Bradfordton shot. You saw the heavy rain in there. Very heavy rain coming down. That's coming from our photographer in Springfield. You know, that rain is really impressive and very much a concern. The rainfall rates are very heavy, and that's going to allow for some very quick flooding. I have not heard of any reports yet, but I imagine that pretty soon we're going to start getting some, especially near Funk's Grove. This storm right here in Funk's Grove coming up from Mount Hope on 136 near McLean. That sits right here. There's a big truck stop in McLean on Old 66. They really big spot there. This storm heading into South Bloomington normal towards Funk's Grove is going to cause more flooding. The Funk's Grove here is where the interstate pavement was essentially destroyed because of fast-moving waters. This happened last night from 4 to 7 inches of rain near Funk's Grove. You can see how the pavement is just in chunks and pieces, and it will take a while for them to repair this. I-55 is, from what I understand, and I haven't heard of any new updates on that, I haven't heard of any new updates on its open, but I imagine it's not open, and I expect more water here at the Funk's Grove exit. There's the rest stop on 55 south of town. I expect more problems in the same areas, and I expect more flooding concerns for folks that are in McLean County, even parts of western DeWitt County. Those areas last night received 4 to 8 inches of rain. This rain is adding insult to injury as it moves off to the north and to the east towards Bloomington. So while we are focusing on the tornado, I want to reiterate that flooding concern. Hayworth, Bloomington, McLean, Funk's Grove, those areas really got hammered hard, as well as Downs did, from storms yesterday and last night. Let's take an area-wide view here, and then if we can, let's double box again. We've got Kevin shot up. Kevin now wrapped up in the rain there. You can see that on the left side of your screen. And the rain really coming down, the torrential rainfall coming with these. I have not heard of any flash flooding as of yet, but the bar is much lower with this storm compared to a while ago because of all of the flooding rains that we've had. And of course, Kevin is on this storm right here near Elkhart. The National Weather Service did just let us know they're watching this storm very closely. The potential for more rotation to develop in this area is near Elkhart and Broadwell. I know Kevin is hearing us. That rotation also being reported, looks like north of Springfield. I want to make sure that's not the Springfield Airport one here. We'll show the velocity product on that and look at both of them. Okay, here we go. That's important to know. Where is Chris at by chance? If we can let me know where he's located, that'd be helpful for... He's in Bradfordton. Okay, good. So he's still there. We're starting to see indications of a rotational signature develop near J. Davis Jones North Walnut Street. That's Illinois 29 North. Springfield Airport, very close to there. No warning yet. I imagine, though, if it continues on the trend, that may very well become a concern and a fast concern for Sherman. Illinois 54 here off to the north and east from Springfield. That's Sangamon Avenue, north to Sherman and Williams. So that may be a bit of a concern for Springfield and the north side of town. So I'm going to pull that Springfield camera up, and we want to turn and look to the north. More than likely, we're not going to see anything here because it's wrapped up in rain, but there is a circulation that appears to be developing behind that rain wrapped in nature in Springfield. And if that's the case, if it continues that way, we're going to watch it closely. We've got our photographer in Bradfordton. I think he's okay where he is. This seems to be just to the north and east to him. But we'll be watching closely and keeping an eye on the sky. Perhaps maybe we can vaguely make out a base off in the distance there. But let's watch all of those sources very closely between Chris, between the Springfield camera, and between Kevin as all of these storms starting to show. There it is. New tornado warning just came out north of Springfield here. We're going to get that warning posted on social. This is going to be for the storm over North Springfield. This is now a tornado located over Capitol Airport or near Sherman, moving to the north and to the east. And so we've got Kevin on the Elkhart storm. We've got Chris on this Springfield storm. We'll keep Chris where he is. He is safe. The rotation is past him. But the rotation now very near Springfield Airport on the north side of Springfield. Sherman, the time is now to take tornado precautions. And we say the Springfield camera. Let's take a look here. You said look at that one. Is that correct? Okay, so we've got the Springfield camera up. Did you see something in there by chance? That's correct. We can see that, but the storm itself is wrapped up in rain at this point. You can faintly make out the vague lowering on that. And Amelia, if you can, have the camera up, the Springfield camera also up on yours, and watch it on your screen. If we may be able to make out if something touches down with this. We'll start seeing some flashes there. But Chris is looking in Bradfordton. If we can turn Chris's camera, if he's able to turn it to the north and east, that will be helpful. I think he's looking more west, but I'd like to look north and east with that. And we're using that Springfield camera as much as we can. I kind of get the idea that we're seeing that area of rotation now develop, but it's very much wrapped up in rain also. Let's also bring the Springfield camera. In fact, if we can have Chris reposition at this point, I think it's safe to do so for him. Let's get him to head towards the Capitol Airport on 29 North in that general direction. Take it nice and slow, but this storm really starting to ramp up here near Springfield. The north side of town, that's very concerning signature to me of where we may very well in any moment have a tornado down in North Springfield based on all indications that we're seeing here. So again, we've got Springfield covered. We're watching the cameras. We're watching Kevin and Elkhart, the wind really picking up there, and that area of circulation is just to the north of town. I think we're looking at it in that full screen there. And what I'm going to have to do is, I apologize, let's bring back either Kevin's shot or Chris's shot. I'm going to have to turn this around the other way. In fact, there we go. I tell you what. On this camera, it's okay, perfect. Kevin's up now. I'm going to turn this camera around. I'm clearly seeing the base of that storm really wrap on in. And that's concerning to me, as I think we may in any moment have a tornado down. But we've got to rotate this camera 360 degrees so we can look in the other direction here of it and monitor. So let me just get my bearings straight here. Again, we're going to be seeing the Capitol. There's the Capitol. Those are storms to the west and southwestern part of the county. No concern there, but we'll have a view on those if something does spin up. We're mainly concerned for that storm to the north, and so we're bringing that full around. Of course, Kevin is there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the radar up real fast, and we're going to really focus in on Springfield at this point. Yes, it still appears that there's a tornado likely near Hudson carrying towards Lexington, but this signature now, the rotation showing itself up very close to Sherman, the Sangamon Avenue exit on the north side of Springfield as it carries out of town. The FFA Center's up that way. There's a number of buildings. There's a theater on the north side of town up there. And so all of those are going to be what we watch closely from this. So again, now I'm getting this vantage point turned around. Just the way that camera is positioned, it's going to be back behind in there. But that rotation will be very close to the Capitol Airport, now Interstate 55 south of Sherman. I'm just getting some information updated here and checking our sources. So we've got Kevin stream up right now. Let's go ahead and bring the Springfield camera full screen if we can and watch the storm as it continues here. You'll see we're looking north and a bit northeast here. Just the way that that camera is and some of the stuff on, just the way that camera is set, we're not going to be able to see too much, but we know that something's kind of wrapped up in there from that vantage point. And so we're watching all of our cameras and all of our sources closely. Just getting some new information from the National Weather Service. Hang on here. Okay, so the National Weather Service is saying they're really watching that signature very closely in the Springfield area. Again, that camera is going to show us very well what's going on. Let's go ahead and double box again. We'll show you where this tornado is. If Chris can head up towards Springfield Airport and continue towards Sherman, I think that's going to be the best vantage point here. And he's safe to do so. The tornado now is going to be north of Sangamon Avenue exit on I-55, and that's going to be very much between Sherman and Springfield. In fact, Springfield downtown points to the west and points to the south. We can give you an all clear at this point. But this signature, very concerning, just to the south of Sherman as it carries to the north and to the east. And we're going to watch it very closely as it moves in that direction, that Springfield camera. Amelia's got eyes on it. We're seeing the rain really wrap around it. Very clearly a lowering defined in that area. And the National Weather Service says it's now heading towards Spalding. That's the next in line here. And so let's talk a little bit more about this storm downstream. This is Highway 54. Highway 54 starts at the State Fairgrounds and continues off on Sangamon Avenue to the north and east. Barclay, Kenny is out here. Clinton is just off the screen. Mount Pulaski is sitting right there in the corner. This is Williams, Sherman, Williamsville. Right here, there's the Love's truck stop. I think this is going to pass probably very close to Williamsville, if not just to the south. But Williamsville and Sherman, I need you in your shelters right now. Riverton, I need you in your shelter right now, especially if you live along and north of Illinois 154. Barclay, we're going to watch for you. Spalding, we're going to watch for you. Some very populated areas up there. And soon we may be seeing if there's anything down. We'll show you the velocity on this storm, and it's really cranking up here. You can see that bright green color right here, that's the indication of where that circulation is, halfway between the Sangamon Avenue exit and the Sherman exit, carrying towards Spalding and off towards Williamsville and Sherman. We'll give an all clear for Springfield Airport, Bradfordton, Green Acres, behind the storm. This now seems to be to the east of Interstate 55 in Sangamon County with this storm. And I'm going to look at a different vantage point to give me some of a different view. That rotation really sticks out right here. Right here. There's Bissell, there's Illinois 54, Spalding, Sherman, right here over the interstate. By now, it's probably a little bit more towards Spalding, a little southeast of Sherman. The radar, of course, updates every 4 or 5 minutes, and it continues to do so. If we can, let's bring the Springfield camera forward, because I think we're starting to get a really good view of that storm now, how low it is. We're looking at the base of that storm off in the distance. A very impressive shot here in central Illinois from our Springfield camera and the Flooring America iNet network. We get a real great vantage point from that network as we're watching this likely, if not now, it's darn close to being a tornado in Springfield, and it's darn close to being down now as it exits town, but it's also wrapped up in rain. We're very much more than likely going to have trouble seeing it here, but what we'll still do is we'll play around and zoom in. We're looking to the north and northeast of it towards the Spalding area, and I'm going to check some of my zoom here and kind of zoom on in. The issue with this is as we look at it, you're going to see all that rain wrapped up in there. If there's a tornado down, it's going to be wrapped up in that rain. Hard to see, and so we're going to reach out to folks in Sangamon County. I have not heard of any damage reports yet, but this is very strong circulation at this point in Sangamon County now, moving to the north and east towards Spalding and to the east of Sherman now in central Illinois. And it's going to be something we watch closely. Quick updates now here. Let's hit the reset button and take a wide view of what we have going on. And we'll watch all those cameras very closely. In McLean County, we still have a likely tornado down. If we can bring me either full screen on cam or the double box is fine. It doesn't matter. We want to talk about everyone and make sure we're not leaving anyone out. First off, we do have the tornado warning in McLean County. That rotation now just to the west of Lexington. And that's where my mom and dad are right now, and they're watching the storm. They're trained spawners. We've grown up together, learning about weather, and now they're watching. I'm hoping to get a photo from them now, and if I get that, there we go. I just did get a photo, and I'll get that on Apple TV here momentarily. Actually, I'm going to send it to you, Lauren, if I can. And that'll be coming your way from Lexington. I'll let you handle that one. Should be on the way, Lauren, in the back, and they can get that taken care of. So that's for northern McLean County. This storm now just to the west of Lexington, heading towards Chenoa. No warning in Livingston County yet, but it will be heading in that general direction. Then, in addition, in Springfield, we now have the tornado warning with a very strong signature on the northeast side of town. Now east of Interstate 55, north of Riverton near Spalding, to the south and east of Sherman. This will be paralleling Highway 54 off to the north and 70s towards Barclay. Williamsville, we still want you in shelter, but we also want areas on Highway 54 in particular, and this may end up kind of going through the middle land between Illinois 54 and Interstate 55. There's Elkhart, here's Lake Fork, there's Mount Pulaski. There's a lot of rural area out there along the river northeast of Springfield, and so that's what we're going to watch here. Of course, Elkhart and Mount Pulaski have sounded their sirens warning folks. Technically, Elkhart and Mount Pulaski, not Elkhart, I guess, would be. So here's Elkhart, right barely in that polygon. Mount Pulaski, not quite. But a first heads up, we welcome our viewers from Logan County now as they're tuning in and hearing the sirens go off in those areas. All right, we've got the photo from Lexington. Let's go ahead and pull this photo. This came from my mom and dad as they're out watching the storm near Lexington, and they're seeing that lowering that's been rotating just to the west of Lexington now as it carries off to the north and to the east. And Amelia, if you don't mind, tell me a little bit more of what you're seeing with that storm here. We'll keep that photo up here for a second.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we can tell right now that this is a very fast-moving system here, so it will be traveling pretty consistently, very quickly. So all areas, as Jacob has been mentioning, if you are in any of the areas that are in a warning right now, you need to take the proper precautions. I'm looking outside of Springfield right now. There is a major rotation. Again, these clouds are very low to the ground, so if you are in to the Springfield area of the warning issued, definitely need to take the proper precautions as we are seeing rotation, potentially could be seeing a touchdown at any point. We're continuing to monitor the Springfield camera as of right now.
Yeah, and we can pull that Springfield camera full screen to get a vantage point of it. If we can get the mic up too. The Springfield camera will tell us more of what's happening as we watch that storm exit town. At this point, we can give an all clear for Springfield proper, west of Interstate 55. Our Mark Maxwell was in Springfield, said the sirens did not sound, and this primarily really picked up quickly and carried itself out of town fast. So by now, the danger is over for North Springfield and Capitol Airport as we watch that storm in Springfield. I'd also like to bring Kevin's shot full screen. It looks like he's maybe down by Sherman now, seeing where he's at. Or maybe he's, let me see here. Kevin, do we know where Kevin is by chance? Is Kevin able to talk? Okay, we don't have Kevin. No, Kevin's in Lincoln. Okay, Kevin's in Lincoln. Let's bring his shot full real quick. Look at the rainfall. That's something else that is a bit of a concern here. The heavy rain, there's now a new flash flood warning for parts of Logan, DeWitt, Macon, Menard, and McLean counties. Say that one more time, I'm sorry. He can't talk? All right, let's go ahead and send it out to Kevin with the heavy rain. Kevin, the storm you're on does not have a tornado warning at this point, but all of these storms do have heavy rain and flash flooding. You're seeing that now. Tell us more about where you are and what you're seeing.
Yeah, I'm here in Lincoln. I'm trying to get back ahead of these storms where I was positioned. It's so hard to get east again, and that is what I'm trying to do. So I'm going to get back east here. Essentially, I'm going to get back on Highway 10. But yes, as I'm driving through Lincoln, wow. I mean, there is a lot of water on a lot of these roads here, and I tell you what, you've got to be careful here. You come across all of a sudden the road, it looks like it's okay, and then you just hit this huge area of water that comes flying up over you. So you've got to keep in mind, some of these areas have seen 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 inches of rain, and so it does not take much now for the flooding to kind of start to really kind of ramp up. So again, I'm going to be getting back on Highway 10 here. As a matter of fact, we're gonna pass back by the Weather Service once again because I want to see both this storm that we're on here and then also the storm that's down to the south that has the tornado warning. I just need to get a better position. The only way I can do that is to get back on Highway 10 there, east of this entire line, and maybe have a little bit better of a vantage point here. But lots of lightning, torrential downpours, and kind of moving over the same areas here. That's one thing we haven't talked a ton about, the training, what we call the training of these storms over the same area, bringing very heavy rainfall and an already extremely saturated ground as well with all of this. So you can see the heavy rain. I've been in this heavy rain ever since I left my location that you saw me at last near Elkhart as the storm kind of, took over. But now I'm going to be heading back here. And you can see the flashes of lightning. I'm literally going to be coming up on the Doppler radar again. We talked about it earlier. Here's the Doppler radar from the National Weather Service in Lincoln. They're working hard analyzing the storms from the radar view that you see there on your left. and you could barely make it out. You may recall earlier you saw a clear view of it, obscured by all of the heavy rainfall and the wind that we're getting here right now. Here in a few minutes, you might come back to me in just a few minutes, because I think that we're going to have probably a clearer view of both of these storms. But I think they also just issued a new warning for the exact location that I'm at. So I'll let you talk about that. I think it's a severe thunderstorm warning for northeastern Logan County. So that is my location here, and we're going to continue to keep you up to date with what we see. Again, check back with me in a few minutes, and we're going to have a better view as we get out of the rain and have a little bit better of into the dry slot of both of these storms. So heavy rainfall, we'll keep you up to date.
We get my mic. There we go. We get my mic on, and that way we can keep covering things here. We do want to talk real quick about these flash flood warnings that are in effect. That warning is for a flash flood warning for Logan, DeWitt, McLean counties. That's these polygons here. If we can bounce that full screen real quick, and then we'll go back to the double box. Even cut me off the camera if you don't mind. I'd like to have that just on max 2. There you can see the flash flood warnings. Those are scrolling at the bottom of your screen, and they will be really, the reason being is heavy rain now in areas that have seen significant flooding already. The flash flood watch does continue through at least Sunday morning, based on what's going on. But we're seeing lots of heavy rain and wind in that area. Kevin, you did mention the severe thunderstorm warning in Logan County. And that's with the storm that you've been watching there. Look at this now over Lincoln and points towards Atlanta as this batch of severe storms carries to the north and east. I do want to mention, though, there is a new tornado warning for Livingston County. And this is going to include our friends up in Fairbury and in Wing and in Sonneman, in Pontiac and in Chenoa. This storm now rotating very much near US 24 on the east side of Chenoa, about to exit McLean County. On its path, I think it will pass just very close, I should say, to the, there's Meadows on the west side. We've got Chenoa and Fairbury. Right between Chenoa and Fairbury, there's a little community called Yates. And that will pass very close to there as it carries into Livingston County. This new tornado warning does continue all the way. And the time on that goes until 4:15 for Livingston County. The warning in McLean County will likely be let go as that rotation now entering into Livingston County. The National Weather Service has established that that rotation will continue, and it's going to likely just be barely north and west of Fairbury. Fairbury, we need you in your tornado shelter. Weston and Chenoa, Avoca, Pontiac, and eventually Sonneman, 47 and 116. There's the four-way stop in that area. This storm heading in that general direction and will continue to move off to the east. We'll zoom in a little bit here and show you the rotation signature real fast. And I think it still is going to show up very much just on the north side of 24 on the county line, about 3 miles to the west of Chenoa. That storm still a very dangerous storm as it carries to the north and east in Livingston County. And that's for one of our tornado warned storms. Likely some strong winds now in Bloomington Normal. You'll notice right here on the southeast side of Bloomington, starting to see some of those reds and greens come together. It looks like there may be a little bit of some convergence there, and so that may very well be some strong winds in Downs and in Bloomington Normal. And we'll pop back to the radar imagery to show you here what we're seeing. There very well may be a developing signature in there too, so that's going to be something we watch. And then, in fact, there it is. Look at that new tornado warning for McLean County. Just so you're aware, Amelia, we've had 2 new tornado warnings that we can get posted to digital. That's going to be for Livingston County and this new one for McLean County. This tornado now is going to be very close to Downs, very close to the Bloomington Airport. It will be south and east of Bloomington now. It makes our 3 tornado warnings that we have in the area, and this is going to continue to the north and to the east. You can see on screen here, if you can bring me back full so I can talk about it on camera 1, this tornado now likely near Interstate 74 and US 150, and will be moving to the north and to the east here. Here's where Downs is. There's Bloomington Normal. This is Veterans Parkway. State Farm sits right here. Here's the airport. This will pass just south of the airport. There's a little commercial area south of Route 9 at the airport. There's a movie theater out there. This is southeastern Bloomington, a lot of neighborhoods by the airport. This is heading in that direction to the north and to the east. Will likely cross Route 9, very close to 165. I feel like I'm getting a little deja vu here. We had an earlier tornado warning in this exact same area, and we're going to watch it very closely as it moves to the north and east. 165, Cooksville, Colfax. We got a live look at the airport from, who's that from? Chris. All right, Chris is in Springfield. We'll have him double boxed. He looks like, does he see any damage there? Or is he just looking at, he's just looking at the rain there. Okay, cool. So if he has any damage as well, let me know. But that's in North Springfield. We'll go back to Springfield in a second. This signature now, Myrna, Cooksville, Colfax, Anchor, all the way up towards areas east of Chenoa in northeastern McLean County. And this one will likely carry itself towards Fairbury, Forest, and Chatsworth in the distance. So now 2 new tornado warnings in parts of central Illinois. Livingston County for the storm near Chenoa, another one in Bloomington. And we now have a new tornado warning. Boy, they're coming in fast here. This is an extension of that tornado warning in Springfield. This is going to be coming up Highway 54 now. This will include Mount Pulaski. It will include Latham. It will not include Warrensburg. This is a Logan County and extreme northern Sangamon County issue. The area of rotation with this storm is now Highway 54 and the Sangamon-Logan County line. There you can see that hook showing up right there as it carries to the north and to the east. And so we're watching that. We've got our photographer, Chris. He's by the airport watching things. One thing to note, we did get reports of some power outages in North Springfield. And if we can find out if there's any more information on that, that'd be great to know here. But a number of warnings, just 3 new tornado warnings that came out. All right, so we will pull some video now, full screen if we can, with some video near Mechanicsburg. And this is of the storm earlier as it came on through. This came from a viewer. And this, Kevin Connor sent this in. Thank you, Kevin, for... I'm sorry, say it again. Can you spell that for me? Shelly Connor. Okay, thank you, Shelly, for sending that in. As we have this storm now, she took this from Mechanicsburg looking to the north. You can see those low clouds in there, and we're continuing to watch this circulation. That circulation now is near Cornland, moving up Highway 54, southeastern Logan County, and that's going to be a concern for us here. Very evident on radar where that's at. You can see it hooking around right here. Your inflow notch is right here. Your rear flank downdraft wrapping around. There's likely a tornado close to being down now on Highway 54, wrapped up in rain, heading for Mount Pulaski, the Highway 121 corridor to the south and east of Lincoln. We know Kevin is out there, and I don't know where Kevin is by chance. And so we're going to watch for his shot. And it looks like Kevin may be east of Lincoln now. I can see him. Kevin, let's talk to you real quick. You're watching that severe thunderstorm warning near Lincoln. Some signs that may be rotating too. Is all of these storms now indicating rotation in the line now along Interstate 55? Tell us more of what you're seeing and where you're at.
Yeah, actually, so what we're looking at is the storm here. The one that you're looking at here is actually the one that would be the new tornado warning. I'm actually looking to my southwest, east of Lincoln. I'm going to be kind of over near the Beeson area, but I am looking to my southwest, and so that is the area of concern. You can see there is a little bit, a little bit of a lowering that is there. That is quite a bit of a distance from me, but that is the general direction that we're kind of looking at for this storm there. So I know it's kind of tough to see on the camera view there. It's not as clear, but from my vantage point here, we're looking into that storm that's going to be coming towards the Mount Pulaski area, Lake Fork as well. And so what I'll probably do is I'm gonna head a little bit more to the south, and so the road that I'm on here and so now I'm heading back south, and this eventually kind of runs back down into Mount Pulaski. But we're gonna watch this right here on the right. So we've got actually a really good vantage point here of this storm that they've just newly tornado warned. So we're going to watch it right there, get a little bit better definition as this comes to the north and to the east. But that is the new tornado warned storm that they've got for Mount Pulaski to Lake Fork, and like as you mentioned there, towards the Latham area. And so we've got to monitor that very carefully, because there's still some signs of rotation. The only issue is when you come up upon some of the corn. You can tell that it's getting close to that 4th of July, and knee-high 4th of July, it's always taller than that. But hey, there we go. We get past that and have a little bit better of a view now. But that's the storm of concern, and we should have a very clear shot into that and have a pretty good idea of what to expect. So I encourage you to check back with us here in just a little bit, because this is going to be the storm that is currently tornado warned that we've been following through portions of Sangamon County.
All right, thanks,
and you
Kevin.
can kind of see actually off there. Yeah. No, go ahead. Well, I was going to say you kind of see on the left, or kind of in the center part of your screen there, we're going to be watching that kind of lowering that is over there. So that's something we're definitely going to be monitoring. So we'll send it back to you as I kind of get in a better position here.
All right, thanks, Kevin. You're going to be coming up in that storm quickly here, and we're watching all of those storms right now. Multiple tornado warnings now in effect for central Illinois. Let's hit the reset button and talk about them all. I'm meteorologist Jacob Dickey. Here in the Weather Center, we've got Amelia Henderson standing by here also. Jack Griffin covering on digital for us. And, of course, Chief Meteorologist Kevin Leidy in the Storm Tracker watching things. Multiple tornado warnings now in effect for central Illinois. We'll start and take them from north to south. All of them have the signs of strong rotation. I don't want to spend too much time on any one storm here as they continue to the north and to the east. But while we talk about the flooding threat will be significant from this event as well, again in areas devastated by last night's on the Interstate 55 corridor from Springfield all the way up towards Bloomington. Let's start to the north here. We have a tornado warning for Livingston County. This is going to include areas south and east of Pontiac on 116 to Sonneman and Highway 45 from Sonneman down towards Forest. As we watch this moving off to the east and northeast at about 30 miles an hour. This storm now located to the north and west of Fairbury, moving to the north and east. I think it will be close to Pontiac, but not just a little bit south of there. And so we're going to watch that closely and keep an eye on it. I think what I'm going to do here is, Lauren, I've got some new photos of that storm coming your way, just so you're aware. And this storm has got some strong rotation, some very low clouds with that. So we're going to check in on the photos in that storm. This does include Fairbury. This does include Pontiac. Sonneman, not quite in it. If you're familiar with that part of Livingston County, there's the four-way red flashing light, the gas station on the corner there. You can get some good drink deals there for sodas and whatnot on a drive up north to Chicago. That's where the storm is eventually heading downstream here. Notice all the heavy rain, though, along Interstate 55 from Chenoa off to the north towards Pontiac, and that's going to be something we watch very closely here moving forth. And so this storm warning, we're watching that. Let's move next down the line. We now have what we think will be a very likely chance of a tornado down to the east of Bloomington. This one just passed by the Bloomington Airport. Now it's on its way towards Bentown and Holder. Myrna sits right here. There's a grain elevator and a bar, and that's about it in Myrna. Cooksville sits here. Colfax is there. Anchor is right there. Chenoa is up here. This is Aerosmith, Moraine View State Park. This should stay to the north and west of Moraine View State Park, but I don't think Moraine View State Park is going to stay in the clear for long. Weekend, folks are camping. If you know folks down there, make sure they're weather aware and watching WCIA on digital and more, as this storm with a very strong signature now just to the east of the Bloomington Airport. Next down in line, then, we do have a severe thunderstorm warning for Logan County. This is northeastern Logan County, from Lincoln to Atlanta, off to the west, looks like I should say east, Waynesville and Illinois 10. Beeson sits right here. This area of storms has 60-mile-an-hour winds and is carrying off to the north and to the east. We may see an extension of this for Waynesville and McLean and Hayworth, potentially Wapella. Heavy rain regardless coming in that direction, and we'll watch this storm very closely. You can see right here, this is our Doppler radar. It's sitting in the middle of that rain, and the National Weather Service office is there. Kevin now is moving off to the east from Lincoln, and we want to go to Kevin right now with an update. Kevin, you're watching that storm to the south. Tell us more about what you're seeing.
Yeah, that storm is now tornado warned. The storm right there near Mount Pulaski, it's got a hook on it. I've got a lowering that's starting to come down here. We're going to watch this carefully. They've just tornado warned this storm. If you're in Mount Pulaski, you need to take shelter. We're going to be coming right up on this. You can see it there in the center part of your screen. We're going to be watching that area right there. That storm is now tornado warned. As you can see, tornado warning now in effect here for portions of southeastern Logan County and for northeastern Sangamon County. With the storm that we are on, that we are going to have an incredible view into that storm here. We are going to be able to see exactly what this thing is doing, but definitely low clouds here. We've got a really good view into this. Mount Pulaski. You can see there's a little bit of a hook there, and there's definite rotation that is starting to show up. And this, again, this is the real deal now. We're watching this storm with our eyes here in the storm tracker, going to have a really good view of this thing. And so we're going to be coming up upon this here in just a few minutes as we get a little bit closer, starting to get some of the lightning here flashing a little bit more, but a very, very low cloud base here. And I'll let you talk a little bit more about that warning as I get in position, but we're going to be coming right up on this storm here, Jacob.
All right, sounds good, Kevin. We're going to leave this double box up here for a little bit, but I want to mention that area of circulation now very close to Mount Pulaski. Here's Illinois 54, Illinois 121. We're out of time in Mount Pulaski. You need to be in your tornado shelters now. 121 down towards Latham is in the path here. Illinois 54 to the north and east to the DeWitt County line here, south and west of Kenny in the path. This is going to be very close to Stahl's Furniture, the big furniture store there. A lot of folks go there in Mount Pulaski, and it's darn close there, trying to spin up now as it moves through Mount Pulaski at this point. For the tornado part of the storm, we can give it all clear for Lake Fork, for Sangamon County, and for areas from Sherman and Clear Lake and off in Illinois 54 and Sangamon County. This is now primarily a Logan County issue. Of course, Kevin is watching it, and if Kevin waves to the screen, let me know if I'm not looking so we can get it, because if something is coming down, it's going to be very close to where Kevin is here. We've got eyes on that. Let's go down next in line. I think that's the last storm that's warned. There are more rain and storms, though. We're watching here south of Springfield. This storm showing an indication of some rotation now over Lake Springfield, moving off to the north and east. We'll be watching closely for Rochester, Mechanicsburg, over towards Cooper and Edinburgh, eventually even towards Illiopolis if that storm were to be warned. And then some more showers that don't really catch much to the eye near Girard and Carlinville. I think further down than that, the instability begins to wane, and so we'll continue to watch these multiple tornado warnings here for 3 different storms right now in central Illinois. We've got Kevin's shot up there. What I want to do is I also want to take our sky cams full, and Amelia, if you can help me, we're going to put those sky cams on max 1. We're going to start out with our sky cam that is, which one are we going to pick first here? We're going to look in, and if we can here, yeah, let's click the screen here, and then we want to use those there. So go ahead and let's start in Springfield and look off to the north and east and click that one. And we get that full screen here. The sky cams, there's Springfield. Notice the heavy rain now coming on down. I will mention there was reports earlier of 65-mile-an-hour winds in North Springfield. And there's been some minor tree... I'm sorry, that's in Chicago, that report is. But there have been reports of 65-mile-an-hour winds in Springfield. The airport had a wind gust of 53. More rain and storms continuing through Springfield right now. Let's go next in line. Let's take the Decatur one if we can. The Decatur camera is looking to the north and west, giving another set of eyes for us as we look here. Right now, it looks like we're looking more east. We need to turn that camera around, and either you can do it or I can do it. I got it right here, actually. I'll just pop this one up. We're looking to the east. We're going to turn this one around because this one will probably give us a great vantage point of that Mount Pulaski storm. So bear with us as we spin that around. While that's happening, let's go to Gibson City real quick. That Gibson City one will give us a look from the Livingston County tornado warning and the Bloomington Normal area tornado warning off in the distance, and is very much going to be a concern for us here. It's off in the distance, but still very dark and ominous, likely some lightning and thunder with that. And so we're going to watch this and continue to keep an update on it. I'm getting that Decatur camera going here. Let's go ahead and pull up our Pontiac camera also if we can. That one's going to be in downtown Pontiac. It's looking to the west in the wrong direction, but it will give us the look at that heavy rain and wind in the area, and that's something that we'll be watching very closely. Of course, so we've got eyes all over the place. Do we by chance have those photos from Livingston County ready? If we do, I'd like to also bring those in. All right, so we're going to get those photos from Livingston County here shortly from my mom and dad that are watching the storm down near Fairbury, showing some lowerings in the area. And so let's go ahead and pull the Decatur camera right now as I've got that looking off in the right direction. Again, it's a very muggy and humid day out there, so there's a lot of instability, but it's also very hazy. And that's going to be hard for us to get a vantage point on these storms as they continue to roll off to the east and northward. I would suggest that at this point, these storms starting to make a little more of an eastward movement compared to northeastward. And so that is what we're going to watch and keep our eyes on with this storm. Still continuing those tornado warnings in the area. And, of course, we're watching Kevin's shot now. He continues to move move into position. We'll watch his shot, we'll watch our Skycam shots and more as we bring you this extended coverage for multiple tornado warnings in central Illinois. It is 3:53 right now. I'm meteorologist Jacob Dickey in the studio with Amelia Henderson. She's working on some of our digital platforms. We've got Jack Griffin also working on things, and then Kevin's out in the field. This came from my mom and dad. This was very much near Chinoa. Look at how low that base is on the storm. And you can see the lowering that is there, rotation being reported with this. That area of rotation now is just to the north and east of, just to the north and west, I should say, of Fairbury, near Avoca, heading very much towards Sonneman, south and east of Pontiac. It'll be crossing very close to the Highway 47 116 interchange. I think that's one photo we have. Do we have the other photo from that area, or is it just one? There's the other one there. So again, a lot of scud in that, but we're looking at that rain-free base, and there's been rotation reported in the area. Maybe a throwback. This is from earlier. If we have that Chatsworth funnel cloud, we can show that also in the area. There's another photo from my mom and dad in the storm in the Livingston County area. So we're going to watch that and keep an eye on it and keep you updated here for the region. Let's go ahead, and if we get that Chatsworth funnel cloud, that was sent in earlier about 1 o'clock, we will do that. But in the meantime, I would like to jump back to radar and do some coverage here. And if we can take me full screen, we want to make sure people know where these storms are, where these dangerous storms are, and where they're heading. We'll start with our northern warning. This is a tornado warning in Livingston County. It will continue for the next, let me get the information on here, for the next about 20 minutes or so, but likely we'll see an extension. This is for radar indicated rotation. We've also have spotters confirming the rotation right now about north of Fairbury is where it's at. And so that's where it is. And this was a report from a storm earlier in that area. This was a Chatsworth funnel about 1 p.m. These storms do have some rotation and have been continuing to exhibit in central Illinois, and will continue to do so for a while longer here, as well as we have some instability. So we're looking at that rotation now near Fairbury. We'll bring back to me, please. This rotation very much right here just to the north of Fairbury. That warning will be extended, I think, for Sonneman, maybe Cullum, areas south and east of Dwight, perhaps north of Piper City and Ford County. We'll watch that closely here, and I'll show you the base velocity, the velocity product, to give you an idea of where that area of rotation is. It's going to be very much right in here. And that gives us a viewpoint of it here. Fairbury sits there. There's Illinois 47. Here's 116. Owego is where there's a school. This is going to be very close to really kind of the no man's land, halfway between Fairbury and Pontiac as it continues off to the north and east. And I'll switch on a different vantage point. Again, we're seeing some signs that circulation right here in the middle, right square middle of Interstate 55, Illinois 47 from west to east, and from north to south, Illinois 116 and US 24. At this point, I can give an all clear for Fairbury from this particular storm, but there's another storm downstream that likely has strong rotation and potentially a tornado. At one point, it may have had a tornado with it. As we back it up and look, that area of rotation now is just about 2 miles east of Myrna, very near Cooksville. Going to be in this area right here. That's one vantage point we can look at, and we'll show you the individual storm itself. Maybe an indication here that the storm has started to surge out a little bit, but still the tornado threat obviously there, and that's why we have this tornado warning. Next in line, Cooksville, Colfax, Cropsey, up towards areas east of Chinoa on US 24. This storm, if it continues, will be a Fairbury, a Forest, a Strawn, and a Chatsworth problem for us here in the region. And that's something we're going to watch very closely as this storm continues to move off to the north and to the east. We'll watch this storm here near Hayworth. I don't have a warning on it now. It is trying to show a little rotation over US 136 and 51. That's Hayworth proper. We're going to monitor this storm very closely. No warning on it, though, and no imminent tornado signature on that. This storm may be the most impressive of the day here, starting to accelerate to the north and to the east. We're likely going to have a new tornado warning soon for DeWitt County. Kenny, Turnbridge, Clinton, Highway 54. This is really rolling down railroad tracks and heading in your general direction. I think a new warning will be imminent for DeWitt County. This should stay to the north of Maroa Forsyth, and it was now through Mount Pulaski. We can give an all clear there. Then downstream, this storm coming out of Springfield, some rotation, some wind, not overly thrilled with how it looks on radar. I think the attention well-deserved for the other storms that are in the area. We do have new tornado warnings now that have been issued and posted. And this is going to be for other storms that are in the northern part of our area here. And I'll show you some of these now. This is for a storm that's now near Dwight, northern Livingston County, and it continues into Kankakee County. Sonneman on Highway 104, really just to the north, 47, really just to the north and east of Sonneman here. These tornado warnings coming in fast and furious now. This rotation on this new storm is located just to the northeast of Sonneman, and it will carry to the north and east. Eventually, really, Dwight's going to be okay. There's a couple of rural communities. Reddick sits right here, and then you hit Kankakee County right here. This is where Kayberry is. Kempton sits right here. Cullum sits right here. This really, I think, is close to some folks that are in the Tri-Point School District. Will stay mainly a Livingston County problem, crossing into Kankakee County, just north of the panhandle of Ford County. That's a new warning, and make sure we get that posted on digital. We'll have it. A number of warnings here. In fact, we look, they even just issued a new warning for a storm near Bourbonnais up in Kankakee County. That one will head towards Manitou and Peatone. Our friends in the National Weather Service in Chicago watching that. Our friends at Chicago TV stations also covering Kankakee County. We are focused primarily on our storms that are here in central Illinois, and will continue to do so. A lot of effort been shown on those tornado warnings. At this point, most storms have at least some rotation on it. This is our tornado watch, and it goes until 7 o'clock tonight, so we got about 3 more hours now of that. We also have a flash flood watch that continues through tomorrow morning, and it may be extended for most all of the area. Heavy rain, a concern. There's a number of flash flood warnings here. Flash flood warnings now for Logan, DeWitt, parts of northwestern Macon near Lawrenceburg-Latham, McLean, Livingston, Ford County from Highway 54 north, and Iroquois County into the Chicago metro. Rain really falling in this area, and these were areas impacted hard